this segment, we'll be applauding a worthy champion whose recent remarkable feat cannot be overlooked. She was recently recognized by the British Council and Cambridge Assessment International Education. She was given 2 British Council recognition and Outstanding Cambridge Learners Awards, in one Top in the World award for having the highest mark in Nigeria in Cambridge International as AS level psychology. Right, I hope I got that right. A High Achievement Award for having the highest mark in Nigeria in Cambridge International AS and A level. Now, these levels examination are conducted in over 145 countries of the world, with over 1 million students seating in the exams annually. Welcome 18-year-old Oluwabukolami Adeyemi. Congratulations. Thank you. Good morning. We celebrate you. Now, to join the conversation, you can call us on 081-0764-1679 or 090-241-63440 or tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag #YourView on TVC. Oluwabukolami. I love that name. I like how it is called. Congratulations once again. This is your first attempt at this, according to the details I found.
Yes, it is.
Right. So what inspired you to go to whole hog? How did you achieve this? What did you do differently? Because it happens in 145 countries. There are a lot of persons your age who perhaps also did this, but you did something differently that made you get this recognition. Give us the behind-the-scenes story of what you did.
I think to start the behind-the-scenes story, I have to just mention God, because that's the most important factor in everything that went down. The saying that goes, pray as if everything depends on God, work as if everything depends on you. I feel like that's really describes my entire experience in preparing for the exam. With what I did differently, I would say the major thing I did was prioritize.
What exactly did you prioritize?
My academics, definitely. It comes with the recognition that my academics was extremely sacrosanct, and I just had to put it first before all else. So I actually did try to understand what worked for me, how I would read, the time I would read, how long I would spend reading something. So I would rather spend 1 hour reading actively than spending 6 hours reading passively and just like looking at the book and flipping through. And I think a major factor that also contributed to my success was support. I had a lot of support from my family and had a lot of support from my school. I attended Chrisland Pre-Degree College, which is a 6th form college, where they take the Cambridge AS and A-level qualifications and other qualifications as well.
That's nice. I like the fact that you had structure to whatever you wanted to do, and you were able to recognize when the number of hours you needed to get in what was necessary to achieve this result. So who's going next?
So usually I'm really happy about this news. We hear in this year we've had a bit of drama regarding results. You know, and from the JAM and the poor girls story. So it's interesting that this is verified achievement from you. How did that make you, your parents feel? What was the response? What did you get from them? Did they like promise you the world? Did they deliver what they promised? You know how we as parents want to ginger, like, I'm going to give you A, B, C, D. When the result comes, then we'll not negotiate how we'll first give you A before B and C. So how was it though?
I think I'm sure actually that what my parents have given me for this is the best gift I could have asked for. What I was promised was I would be able to go to any university of my choice. And by the grace of God, I was able to secure admission into several universities in the United Kingdom. And I have decided and I have my place confirmed at a Russell Group University in the United Kingdom.
Congratulations.
So I'm just praying that God blesses my parents, the finances they need, so they go through with their promise.
That's good.
Wow,
That's good.
My question would be about your parents, right? A lot of times we see that parents have a role to play in the success of their children, whether we acknowledge it or not openly. So what was your parenting, how do I put this question? How were your parents like involved, not involved alone?
What do you, let me please, I get what you're going to. Your other friends, what do you feel your parents did differently than what your other friends did? Like, what's the difference?
And then are they both literates? You know, because all of these things have an impact on it, on your success. So what was it like, especially regarding your parents?
Well, for my parenting, I would say that my parents have always been people to let us know what is more important. So first of all, the first thing in my house is, God is important. And after that, we talk about family, and then education comes in. Like when I tell you my parents they prioritize our education. They've given I and my siblings the best, Mr. Oluwabukolami Adeyemi and Mrs. Oluwabukolami Adeyemi.
Oh, they're so proud of you, I'm sure.
They really prioritize education, and they're very intentional about how we read, how we grew up. When I was in primary school, my mom would always revise with us before we had tests in the car. We'll be going to school, and she would say, okay, in your notes, I'm seeing this and this and this. What's the answer to this? But particularly in Christian Pedigree College, where I did this exam, this Cambridge A-level exam, we couldn't have our phones, so I didn't have my actual phone. We had to get a small phone that could only be used for calls. And I can tell you that for sure I had calls from my parents every single day. My mom would call in the morning, and my dad would call in the evening, or every other. Always, yes. The follow-up was back to back to back. They were so, and I know that their prayers worked wonders for me. Definitely.
I'm glad that you mentioned phones, because I was actually coming to that. You know how Gen Zs love their phones and how TikTok. They want to play games, they want to be on TikTok. How have you been able to strike a balance between your academics and social life?
Okay, well, I'm not going to stay here and just say that I don't use social media, because I think social media is a good addition to our society. I'm on everything on social media at Disimi Ade.
Really came prepared.
At the senior day.
And the thing is, you just have to prioritize. It's the same thing we've been saying since. In my school, which is Christian Pedigree College, where I went to, we were not allowed to have phones, but they didn't cut off every single form of interaction we'd have with the outside world. So we had the small Nokia, those small Nokia phones that all you can do with it is call. So we would always be able to call our parents and reach out to people, but we didn't have access to phones like Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all those things. So throughout the time when I was preparing for this exam, I was actually in school throughout my summer holiday. So throughout summer, I didn't have access to TikTok, Instagram, and I can confidently say that I'm still alive.
Very important that you mentioned that. Quickly do your follow-up.
So before then, I'm sure there's been a trend of you being an A student. So before they collected the phone, you had it
academically.
So how have you been able to stay ahead academically even before you had to write this exam?
I think from a very young age, I just have been pushed the right way. My parents have always pushed I and my siblings. Amide, Ashe, you guys, you have to really make sure you're doing what you're doing in school. So my siblings and I, we have always been pushed towards the right way, I would say. In primary school, I graduated as the best graduating student. And I finished from secondary school with all distinctions in my work. So I would say that it's the same thing that has been working for me, God, my parents, that worked for me even to achieve this feat.
Fantastic.
Now, I like the fact that you are able to confidently talk about these things, and that you recognize some of these things, the effort your parents put in place to inculcate all that you have become and the results you're getting. But we know how Gen Zs are. Resistance to parents trying to box them into becoming what they feel they should become. How were you able to see things the way your parents were saying them, such that you obeyed, you followed despite external pressure? You're talking about God, but we know how we are, or how things are with this generation, Gen Zs. A lot of them do not really see that God factor. How are you able to still hold on to that factor? What did you understand differently with regards to life that makes you believe, if I follow what my parents are saying, I'll actually be successful?
Well, my parents' style of raising us has not been very, do this because I said so.
Right.
I would have to say that we've always been in the picture. If we're making this decision, you're going to make the decision with us. You want to go to this school. Why do you want to go to this school? We think this school is a good idea for you. What do you know about the school? Do you think? We've always been involved in making our own decisions. So I think from a very young age, I've always been there to see why they're making me do this. Even as I grew up,
right,
I didn't have to ask too many questions. Or why did you say I should pray to God? Or why? Because God has been wonderful to us. So we didn't have to ask that question.
Right.
We've just always been involved. I've always been involved in every decision they wanted to take. They've never taken me to a school and said, you're going to this school because we said you should go to this school. Like, no.
Yeah.
So involving your child is critical.
Yeah.
Right.
So my next question for you would be that now you're going to UK, and in my head I was just thinking another talent leaving Nigeria. What do you think about Nigeria, and do you have plans to come back to at least contribute to the development of our nation?
Wonderful question.
Sincerely, it's okay. Yeah.
In truth, I have never been one that has decided to live abroad. When it comes to staying in Nigeria, I know from a very young age I've always had passion for social justice, development, like economic development of our country, things like that. And I just have always been very involved or wanting to be involved in the whole Nigeria picture, the whole Nigeria story, development, everything. So yes, I do have plans on coming back to
That's good news. Music to my ears. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this conversation.
Your dad is in the studio.
Yes.
Are you daddy's girl or mommy's girl?
Yeah, bit of both.
Oluwabukolami Adeyemi. I love that name. Congratulations, and we can only wish you the very best.
Yeah.
Now your path is set before you. We can only pray God blesses you.
Amen.
As you move forward. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing so you won't miss out any of our latest video.